Okay, so this is the IPC evolution of the old chips. Actually 64-bit chips, because the 32-bit A7 Swift is cannot be run on the Geekbench 5 to let's stay somehow comparable. Um, but you can see here, I I just took from the database the Geekbench score. Uh, I took official frequencies. I divided these Geekbench points by gigahertz, and I've got IPC, actually the points per gigahertz. And if you compare it to Intel 9900K, you will receive this. And you can see this is absolutely shocking. Apple has a super high IPC, since you can see Apple A10 Hurricane. Apple A10 Hurricane 2016 is outperforming in terms of IPC Intel Coffee Lake refresh and Comet Lake, and with 19% over, it's outperforming also Zen AMD Zen 2. My Ryzen is outperformed, but really big way, by like 4-year-old chip from iPhone, guys. Of course, the frequency is lower, 2.3 gigahertz, so the overall score I have better. But in terms of IPC, which is the metric how advanced the architecture is, in terms of architecture, Apple has an incredible advantage. And it's not only last year. Last year they have 82%. You can see the spec benchmark is providing 84% in the integer and 61% in a floating point. Geekbench is saying 82% in overall in all their subtests. They have like I think it's a 15 subtests. But if we go even more into the history, you can see even Apple A9 Twister from 2015 is outperforming Intel and also Zen 2, guys. This is absolutely incredible. And if we take a Apple A7 as a first chip in from 2013, it is the IPC is about Skylake. No, Skylake. Sandy Bridge, actually. This is the IPC about the Sandy Bridge. And you can see, this is the rise between this is the IPC rise when they jumped here. So to A8, they jumped 11%. IPC to A9, they did 32% IPC. The smallest IPC rise was the Hurricane A10. Another huge jump was the A11 Monsoon, and there is a 13 and a 14%. So they are actually every year bringing new architecture with absolutely incredible IPC speedups. And they are doing it since 2013, actually. And another thing is the A7 Cyclone here. Guys, this is the first CPU with 4 LAUs, and it was in 2013. And guys, this is the first 4 LAU CPU on the world. And if you are CPU enthusiast, you probably know that also Intel was using 4 LAUs since Haswell, and Haswell is also 2013. So actually, Apple, in terms of architecture, was pushing absolutely state-of-the-art architecture since beginning, since 2013, guys. This is not coincidence, and this is one I was really shocked that it's like most of people and on the forums there is no reviews, there is no there is actually no videos about Apple CPU architecture development, how they evolved, and how they are actually super advanced. Actually, some CPU enthusiasts they do know, but most of the people they talk about the CPUs. And I was the one also last year. I have no clue actually about Apple performance. I was shocked by this because Apple is actually not using marketing materials. They are not saying, okay, we have a best architecture, again and making it even better. No, they are saying we improved CPUs again. And like a mostly almost not providing like a no numbers, like a no architecture schematics. They are not using kind of cheap marketing here. They are just saying we are making the best iPhones, and yeah, another shocking thing about the Apple architecture is this Apple A11 Monsoon. Guys, this is the, yeah, Apple A7 was a big change because they was pushing the architecture to the absolute level, maximum level since beginning, yes. But A7, A8 still it was like 4 LAU, 4 LAU, 4 LAU, but 811 is the 6 LAU monster. And guys, this is 2017. This is the year. This is like a 3-year old architecture, and they have the best architecture, widest, most advanced architecture already 4 years actually. This year should be announced the Apple A14. Apple A14 should be the fourth generation of this 6LU monster, and nobody talks about it much. Let's check this architecture of Apple. It's absolutely incredible. Let's compare it to Intel Skylake, which is kind of Command Lake also. And the first thing you will be noticing here is here 6 LAUs, 6 arithmetical logical units. This is the basic unit which do most of the calculation in the CPU. And let's compare it to the Intel Command Lake. And you will see here in Intel that there is a 1 LAU, second LAU, third LAU, 4 LAU. So they are using 4 ports for the integer, and also there are shared ports also for the floating point. But in terms of computation unit, you can see in these LAUs, Apple has a plus 50%, plus 50% more computation capability. And not only this simple addition here, but if we take a look on the multiplication here, there is a 2 multiplication units inside, and there is only 1 multiplication unit in Comet Lake, guys. This is not 50%. This is actually plus 100%. So now you maybe start to understand that the almost double IPC of Apple A13 is coming from this. There is a lot of, this is monster, this core. This is a lot of transistors. This is like the widest and most performant core ever built in the CPU history. And there is also shifters. Actually, the shifters, there is a 6 shifters here. You can see there is on this schematics on the Intel, there is no actually the shifters, but actually we can take a look and compare with the Ice Lake. This is probably the best x86 core right now in terms of IPC, and you can see the shifters here. There is a shift one, two integer shifters, and Apple has a 6 of them. So there is probably also 2 shifters, and Apple has 6 shifters. So in terms of shifting operations, Apple is able per one cycle do 3 times more. So it's not like a plus 82%. It's not plus 100% as a multiplication. It's like a plus 200%. So they really tripled. So yeah, the IPC comes from this huge computation uh, resources, and you can see also the floating point. If you take a look here, floating point, it can do 3 floating point per cycle for everything, like additions. You can do multiplication, and hey, there is no division. There is a division, floating point division, but it's hard to compare with the Intel here. But we can compare it with the AMD actually, which is better picture. And because AMD has a better floating point performance than Intel, because it's using actually 4 pipelines. You can see one pipeline, second pipeline, third pipeline, and fourth pipeline. It's pretty nice design actually, and allowing more IPC. And you can see it's split it for one multiplication and one addition, which is making together one floating point unit. And but Apple can do 3 of them. Apple can do 3 additions. So Apple is probably using like another 2 units here. So its Apple is 50% wider than AMD Zen 2 architecture. So if you go back and compare the IPC in the spec int and spec floating point, you can see here that AMD really has actually Apple has a 50% advantage in IPC in the floating point. So it's really kind of fitting this this comparison of the floating point units, and Apple is really monsters in every way. Also, AMD is using 4 LAUs, and they are using, I think, 2 branches here, and they have a 1 multiplication and 1 addition. No, 1 multiplication and 1 division unit. In terms of division, it's probably Apple here in Monsoon and Vortex is using also one division unit. The multiplication is again doubled according to the documentation of Zen. And yeah, so it's Apple is absolutely monsters in terms of resources. So there's no wonder that Apple is outperforming the x86 CPUs in terms of IPC by factor 2. I was I was also shocked that we have Apple has such a monsters architecture, and there is no reviews or no no hype about it. It's like a kind of silent operation that Apple is like not making any public announcement. They try to keep it like a secret, and